and budget accordingly. Really understanding your credit report and how to analyze and interpret that information, learning how to manage debt, and really just ultimately making your money work for you. So many different things kind of fall under that category. And I like to think of myself as um, sort of like a preschool teacher to that, like just focusing on like the basics. And so that's where we are.
Yeah, yeah. Does any of your financial literacy work like bleed into, your workforce development work?
Absolutely. So, like I said, a lot of the initiatives that I work on at the chamber are really geared towards closing that opportunity gap. So, making sure that everyone has equal access to different opportunities, whether it's getting an employment opportunity in like a high wage, high demand industry. Well, once that happens, you may go from making a certain amount of money being underpaid to making a significant meaningful income, and with that comes a lot of changes in finances. And so it's really important to marry the two and make sure that you're not setting people up for failure, and that they also have the tools and the resources in place to kind of go from one stage in life to another. So there is a lot of collaboration between the two for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent, excellent. So, from a personal standpoint of, people with credit and, building credit and trying to hold on to credit, does carrying a balance like on your credit card help your credit?
So it's actually better to pay your credit card balances in full rather than carrying a balance, because there isn't actually a benefit to your score from when you carry your balances of any sizes. So with that in mind, I always recommend to people to keep their balances at 30% or below. So your credit card utilization rate should always be below 30%. And that is what's going to help you, build credit and improve your credit over time, because overutilizing it doesn't help you, even if you do pay it back in full. So I guess to kind of sum that up, there is really no known benefit to carrying over a balance.
Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, I wonder, man, how many people, actually don't know that and are thinking the opposite, that carrying a balance and then, it makes, I guess, the usage of the credit card like, you're taking advantage of the credit and carrying that balance, but it doesn't help you as it relates to your scores are concerned. So, yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. There are, you're right. There are a ton of people who um aren't familiar with that and maybe have received like some miscommunication along those lines. And so that's why I just want to be able to kind of create more advocacy. I'm sorry, I'm like messing up over here. Advocacy and awareness around that topic.
Yeah, yeah. So to go back to, I guess, workforce development, what do you think is missing as it relates to workforce development? Like, why is there such a gap, in this ready employees or employees who are ready to work versus, all of the jobs that are actually available for them to apply for?
There are so many different variables that go into that. So, I think we all understand that there are a surplus of employers who have a huge demand and have positions that need to be filled. And then on the other end, there are individuals who are looking for meaningful work in those high wage, high demand industries. But there are so many things that can really keep an individual being ready to get into an employment opportunity. So, there's barriers like transportation, childcare, of course. I've worked with an individual who lost her job in the middle of the pandemic, and actually, for a year or two after that, couldn't get her child was on the wait list for so long. So because of that, she wasn't able to go back into an office and could only really benefit from like a work from home position. So that's one scenario. Also, there is, the benefits cliff. Like sometimes people can go from making like a lower wage and then get now employers are wanting to pay more, which is huge, but there's also got to be some strategies put in place so people don't lose their benefits or they're prepared for the next step. So there's really not one answer to that. It's just a lot of different variables, and I'm glad you brought that up because it's something that we heard a lot in the pandemic, and I wish that more people took the time to really understand all sides of this the situation. And another thing kind of come to mind whenever you said that. I feel like there are so many resources that are available in the Asheville area, and so many people are doing the same things. So I think it would be helpful if we could come together and figure out, who's doing this and who's doing that. And that way we can put our heads together versus there being so many different buckets of people trying to solve the same thing, if that makes sense. A lot more collaboration would also be helpful.
Yeah, I've noticed that the Land of Sky, when they put out these workforce development reports, that there's a couple of things that are stopping people from applying. Like if you have over 25,000 jobs available, but roughly 9,000 people registered as unemployed just in this little area here. A couple of things. Of course, number one is the benefits, because it's like, okay, let's raise wages, but then let's have a deficit in the benefits. But there's two other factors that play a part in why people are really not applying. It's because of safety protocols for COVID-19, which was one. That one is kind of dwindling down now because of restrictions and because of the vaccine. But then number two, which was really